Hi guys, the end of the year is fast approaching, so I thought I'd quickly jump on here and do another little video for you guys to reflect on the year before we start doing all our goal sessions and all the great things that we're going to do for 2019. I always like to have a little bit of a ritual where I'm actually reviewing my current year before I set my new goals, and I find this is such a great thing to do because often there's so many things that we have done and that we've accomplished over the year and lessons that we've learned that we, if we don't take a little bit of time to kind of review our year, we kind of literally miss out on all these little gems. So I want to give you 5 steps of how you can easily and simply review your year to start off 2019 on an absolute high. So let's go through them. The very first question, and I'm going to give you a really simple framework, and you can make it as more in depth as you simply want. Like if you only want to sit down for like half an hour or a couple of minutes and do this, you can just really quickly and work through these 5 questions, or you can literally spend an entire day and really look at every single area in your life and go through these 5 steps. So that's why I like this kind of process, because you can just adapt it to whatever works best for you. But let's get started. So step number 1 is we want to just kind of we want to go do a bit of time travel. So we literally want to sit down and imagine what it was like being us a year from today, right? So go back in time to, it's the 27th of December, I believe today. We want to think, about what was I doing on the 27th of December last year? And like I said, if you want to do this in a quick overview, you kind of examine every area of your life in one go, or you kind of, look at your health, look at your relationships, you look at your, business, and you can kind of compartmentalize it. But for right now, you just kind of want to start and being like, okay, what was my life like? And really, look at it externally, but also internally. Like, how did you feel? Like, what were your, emotions towards different people, towards yourself, to what you were doing? How did you feel? Were you like feeling like, stressed all the time, or you're feeling really good? So you just want to take note of how you were, like a year from now. So really, and we have this amazing ability to really time travel in our minds, right? We don't need a time machine. Literally, you can do this in your mind and really enter you a year from ago. And it's really important at this part, like especially in throughout all the steps, but especially in step 1 and 2, that we don't judge ourselves. Like imagine you're almost like a anthropologist, or somebody that's observing people and observing their habits. Like you want to just observe your own life. You don't want to judge anything. You don't want to think, oh, that's good or that's bad. You just want to kind of see it as it is. So that's step 1. We just actually go back in time and look at our life, what it was like back then. Then step 2, what we want to do is, like I said, compare it, and not compare it, and this is really, really important, in a non-judgmental way. Like I said, be the anthropologist. God, I'm really struggling with my words today. I didn't even have that much. I didn't have anything to drink actually over the Christmas period, so it's not that. But you want to kind of just observe it and not go into a judging way, but just really like a researcher, like a scientist, kind of be like, okay, this is what I was a year ago, this is what it's kind of now, and let's just look at the gap. Like, where are the differences? Like, what's different from there to then? Or it might be, the same. And just kind of, you can just kind of freestyle brainstorm this. And again, if you really want to have an impact with this and it to be really effective, don't do it in your head. Like write it on a piece of paper, like brainstorm this out, because when we get stuck, if we're just thinking about this stuff, our mind has a way of distorting it, and it's just not done properly. If you sit down and you actually write it down, it going onto that piece of paper is where it becomes much clearer and you get much more of an objective view. So please don't do it in your head. So step 1, we're looking at where we were. Step 2, we're looking at how that's different, and what's the same, what's different from a year ago to what it is right now. Step 3, what we now want to do is, because again, and this is really important because our brain, and most of us have very analytical minds, right? And this is, really, really helpful in lots of things, but it can also lead us to kind of negative behavior in the sense of we start criticizing what was better, what was worse, and we go into this comparing mode. What we really want to do is kind of go from a positive energy and a positive place, meaning like, let's start off with thinking, what is all the things that I'm really, really proud of for what's happened over the last year? What have I developed? Where have I grown? What experiences have I done? What have I done that I'm really, really proud of? Okay, and just start writing all down all the things. And like I said, you can go through the different categories. You can just look at it, you know, overall, like, oh, I was really, you know, I'm really proud that, you know, I feel so much fitter now than I did a year ago. I'm like doing daily exercises or whatever it is, like, and really make sure, you know, don't miss out on the really small things that sometimes make us, you know, really proud. And if you're getting stuck at any point where your mind's kind of going, there's nothing I'm proud of, like I didn't do anything, just override it. And there's a really simple strategy of doing this, and it sounds so simple, it sounds like it shouldn't work. And that's literally, if your brain goes, oh, there's nothing, you just go, that's fine, but what if I wanted to be proud of something, what would it be? And it sounds, I know it sounds stupid, but it really works. So just try it, just keep asking and again, this is why it's so important to write it down. When you write it down, you'll see there's kind of this flow that kind of comes from almost like a subconscious. And you get this whole array of like things that you're really proud of that you achieved for the year. And really allow yourself to kind of feel those emotions as well. Like feeling proud is, again, it's a very positive, you know, empowering emotion. When you feel it, and you that's what you're then experiencing in that moment, and it kind of gives you that momentum throughout the rest of the exercises. So that's what we want to do in step 3, is like figure out all the things and write down all the things that we're really, really proud of. Now, step 4, the question we want to ask ourselves are, what are some of the great lessons that we have learned in the last year? And again, this is a really, really great way of, like I said, using the critical analytical part of our brain in a positive way, rather than going, what could I have done better? What did I fail at? Like, you know, what mistakes did I make? Because again, it's the lessons that are the real, like that, the reason sometimes asking those questions is really powerful, because it's the lessons, right? But often when we ask those questions, we go into this negative state. If we say, what mistakes did I make? What did I fail at? We're gonna go by nature into like a negative mindset. Whereas if you ask yourself, what lessons did I learn? Like, lessons are the positive, so we come from a very different place. So you can see we're kind of using that positive energy to still get the really beneficial things from our year out of it. So ask yourself, what are the lessons that I learned from this year? And then finally, the last question that we want to finish up with, step number 5, is everything that I've kind of learned from like right now, like looking at my year and everything, what am I really excited about for next year? And again, this is layering on top another positive energy, like a positive question that allows us to kind of really think about, what is it, you know, and this is again, the great thing about this question is, like, no matter how you felt about your year, if you know, you may have had tremendous growth, do you mean like you might feel like you didn't really move anywhere? But it doesn't really matter, because remember, this is why it's really good to like approach this like a scientist. Like, even if let's say you had the worst year and you didn't move in the categories you wanted, but what is exciting about the next year is, like, now that I've discovered this and like I've got all these lessons that I've learned, and you know, the things that I am proud of from the year, like they're giving me more of a focus of what makes me feel good and what do I really like makes me happy. Now I'm so excited about what I can implement in the new year. And then again, you just want to brainstorm, like, what am I going to do? You know, what exciting things am I going to start doing? And that's already kind of going to give you some foundation when you then sit down to do some of your goals for 2019. So in a quick review, these are the 5 steps. We want to sit down and just look at go back in time, what was I like a year ago, and really just write down all the feelings externally, internally, how did we feel, what was going on in our lives a year from now. Step 2 is look at what is different, like what are the differences, and do take it from an approach like a scientist. No emotion, no judgment in here. Step number 3, we want to look at all the things and list all the things that we're proud of that we have done over the year. And don't disregard the little things. It might just be that one conversation that you had with a loved one, or, you know, like stepping up for yourself when you normally would have been quiet. Like, all of those moments are so important. So make sure you acknowledge them and write them all down, no matter how small, how big. So we've got the list of things we're proud of. Step 4, we want to then look at all the lessons that we have learned. Okay, all these great lessons that we've learned in the year. And then finally, step 5, what are we now, from everything that we've learned, so excited for 2019? I hope you guys enjoy this 5-step review process. Like I said, if you want to go in more detail, like you can literally, you know, you can go through every single category in your life as well. But I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments how you find this 5-step review process. Feel free to hold yourself accountable and share down in the comments what you found out, or anything that you think would be beneficial for everyone else. I would think sharing is caring. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you in our next video to plan 2019.